All right, Broncos country, it's time to gear up because we've got one tough episode to talk about today. My name is Moose. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. And on today's episode, we got to talk about the cornerback situation because for the most part, it's been pretty good. However, I think the writing is on the wall, at least timed enough to have a conversation about benching Riley Moss and moving Jahdae Barron to the outside cornerback position. Now, I'm sure you're wondering to yourself, we have gone over this multiple times. Why on earth is it different now? Well, we're about a quarter way through the entirety of the NFL season. The Broncos are on a hot streak. And the one area on the defense right now that, at least to me, seems to be the biggest glaring red flag are these massive chunk plays that we're giving up in the secondary, mainly to Riley Moss. So we're going to break down everything in today's episode, from the statistics to what I believe needs to happen. But if you want a shout out in the next video, we're going to get a little vain on today's episode. Type Moose in the comment section down below. I'm going to give as many people who type Moose a shout out in our next video. So if you want to be featured, type your Mooses in the comment section. The three cornerbacks that we're talking about today: Riley Moss, Jahdae Barron, and Ja'Quan McMillian. Obviously, Pat Surtain is not going to lose his job. He's your best corner. He's the best corner in the league. He's not going to be mentioned a couple of times in this video. Well, excuse me. He will be mentioned a couple of times in this video, but not as the main subject of today's video, because the main subject is Riley Moss. And I'm going to be completely frank with you. I've said this multiple times. I'll say it one more time for you. 4 out of 5 plays, Riley Moss looks really, really good. But that fifth play is always a bomb down the field. His statistics also prove that. He is getting picked on over and over and over again in coverage. This is the worst coverage grade of his entire career. 49.1 is inexcusable. He's got 25 tackles because he is getting targeted non-stop. And if you want even more evidence as to how bad it's going, he's given up the second most passing yards as a cornerback in the NFL at 262. Believe it or not, the guy who's in first is actually a cornerback for the Raiders. I forget the guy's name, but Riley Moss is number 2 in the league at giving up passing yards in the NFL in 2025. That is not a good statistic. In fact, if we were to break down the advanced analytics, he's worst in his career in a multitude of categories. Yards per reception, 15.3. That's the worst of his career. He's given up 230 air yards this season. For reference, in 2024, in the entire season, he only gave up 540. So he's almost at half of that number through 5 weeks. He's only allowed 1 touchdown, which is pretty nice, but his average depth of target is now 16.6. So not only are opposing quarterbacks targeting him more, they're targeting him deeper because they know he's getting beat off the line of scrimmage. And I get it. Playing on the opposite side of Pat Surtain is hard, right? Because you're not going to throw to Pat Surtain's side. So who are you going to pick on? The other guy. I'm not discrediting how hard it is for the other cornerback playing on the opposite side of him. His job is. I get it. So he does get a little bit of a pass for that. If Pat Surtain was half the player that he was, I don't think you'd see Riley Moss's numbers nearly as bad. However, we have talked that this team is a serious playoff contender, a team that could make the AFC Championship if they continue to play well and beat these good teams. So if you're going to be a serious playoff contender, you're going to have to go up against some very good quarterbacks. And the way that Riley Moss is playing right now is not nearly good enough to go up against the likes of Josh Allen, to go up against the likes of Lamar Jackson when he comes back, or even Patrick Mahomes. So, I'll give you my answer right after I ask you this question. What would you do with Riley Moss? You let me know in the comment section down below. I'm not going to lie to you. Coming up after this YouTube ad break, you're probably not going to love my answer if you're a Riley Moss fan. And Producer Jack, if you want to bring me up full screen for this answer, you totally can. So what would you do with Riley Moss? I think the answer is obvious. It's time to bench him. It's time to bench him. And that doesn't mean bench him like don't play him, but that means giving the likes of that outside cornerback position to Jahdae Barron. Let Jahdae get the start. Let Riley come in situational, rotational places. The reason I say that is because the statistics not only prove it, but what we saw from Jahdae Barron against the Eagles, mainly one specific play, are indicators to me that he's ready to take on that role. Now, before I do that, I have to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is our friends over at Tushy. I've called a lot of other players in the AFC West a-holes recently, but that sting doesn't feel nearly as big now that I've used a bidet. And let me tell you about our friends at Tushy. Using that Tushy bidet means that you leave the bathroom cleaner than when you walked in. Let's get into it. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits in bottom health for life. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. Instead of wiping endlessly with toilet paper, Tushy pristinely removes 99% of bacteria while protecting your natural skin barrier thanks to one natural ingredient: fresh water. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty as well. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout, C-H-A-T. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. So let's talk about this one area, this one specific play that I'm talking about. Do you remember late on that last drive when Jalen Hurts had the ball, they were trying to go down and score one more time on the Denver Broncos? Jahdae Barron went up against Dallas Goedert, their tight end, who's got the major size advantage. And Barron had an unbelievable pass breakup. It was one play, sure. But that one play against a bigger-bodied defender, offensive player, who has clearly shown over the tenure of his career he can do damage over the middle of the field. Jahdae went one-on-one as a rookie and shut him down. That, to me, indicates he is ready for the next step. And Jahdae Barron, to me, really, hasn't even found his place on this field. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But the stats, they don't lie. He's been pretty good. Now, I wouldn't say it's been spectacular because as we've known about Sean Payton, he likes to gradually increase the workload of his rookies. But 10 tackles, 2 PBUs, his coverage grade is a whole lot better than Riley Moss's, and his run-stopping grade, he's a willing run stopper, is 80.1. So I'm getting a cornerback that can also jump up in the box if he needs to and stop the run. Jahdae Barron, look, I'm really excited about the prospect of what this kid can be. He's got the speed, he's got the smarts, he's got the agility, the versatility. You name the adjective, he's got it. The one thing I don't see from Jahdae Barron is a defined role on the Denver Broncos. He kind of just roams around. You know what I mean? It's almost like Sean Payton just says, we'll figure it out. Go out there and make plays. And for the most part, he's doing a good job of it. I mean, I know primarily he plays in the slot and he plays that nickel, but the rotation between him and Ja'Quan McMillian, it just kind of feels like Barron's out there just doing what he does, making plays, finding the nose for the football. But when he is on opposing wide receivers, granted it is a small sample size, Barron's only allowing a 44% completion rate this season. That's it. That's less than 50% of the time that Jahdae Barron gets targeted, our ball's caught. And that, to me, is worthy of that outside starting cornerback 2 position. And then, of course, you probably wonder, well, what does that mean for the nickel spot? I have to apologize to this man. I do. I got to apologize to Ja'Quan McMillian. During the preseason and the offseason, I had said that Ja'Quan McMillian was in jeopardy of losing his job. And boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit. My apologies to you, Ja'Quan McMillian, because you have been outstanding this season. 17 tackles, 1 PBU, a coverage grade that is, believe it or not, higher than Pat Surtain's, and a run-stopping grade of 92. I mean, he's been the best cornerback outside of PS2 on this team, and he's only allowed 65 air yards in 2025. Remember that stat for Riley Moss? That was what, 230? And Ja'Quan's only allowed 65. Played the same amount of games, Maybe not nearly as many snaps as Riley Moss has played, but he hasn't played 10 snaps. I mean, he's definitely over 100. He's been outstanding. And Riley Moss hasn't. He's been okay. He's been fine. He's played well in moments, but he has not been the best corner outside of Pat Surtain. That goes to this guy right here, Ja'Quan McMillian. So I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about him. I thought this was going to be a gradual phasing out of Ja'Quan McMillian, and it was going to be Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and Jahdae Barron. It looks like the obvious choice right now is to go Pat Surtain, Jahdae Barron, Ja'Quan McMillian. So I don't know what else to say about it because Ja'Quan McMillian is a dog this year so far. So if I had to pick my starting two, right? Like if I had to say, who do you have to start? The 2 out of the 3. I'm typing my JBs and I'm typing my JMs. I think Riley Moss is now more of a situational corner, somebody that can come in, as a rotational piece and somebody that can also, when he needs to come in and make a play, can do it. And if he is your rotational corner, that's a great spot to be in because he could be one of the best rotational corners in the entirety of the NFL. And I don't think that not playing him is the answer either because if you don't play him, his trade value goes down significantly, and he is too talented to get cut. So you got to find out what this good problem to have is surrounding the Denver Broncos corners. And if you love these kind of episodes, if you love thoughtful, entertaining, thought-provoking content around the Denver Broncos, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and then turn on your little bell notification. We'll make videos like this all the time just for you. But until later on today when we get you more Denver Broncos content, Broncos country, a mile-high salute to you. Be cool.